interpenetrable, meaning it is boundless, pervasive, and all-inclusive. There is no place it is not. For example, when we observe a rock, we say, oh, there's a rock. But all the time holding that space of awareness that recognizes its true nature is emptiness. For the Serum, subject and object merge in one unified field of consciousness called Isarya. This would be like Samadhi, except that it has the metaphysical awareness of the empty space of the atom as the basis of our insight and relation to reality. Isarya is the field of awareness brought into a state of awareness through the dissolution of subject-object consciousness. In other words, all that is perceived is the vastness, Brahman. It's literally looking into a rock and seeing the 99.999% emptiness of its inherent condition. Recognizing the rock is part of our awareness, but not identifying with this illusory solidity of the rock. As yogis, we must hold both aspects of its nature in our field of consciousness. That is, its nature as the vibrational frequency which matches that of our hand, thus feeling solid, and its true state of emptiness between the electrons and nucleus that hold the rock together. Both states are real, but on different dimensions of reality. We must be able to hold the truth from different dimensions in the same hand. This requires mental flexibility and is a strong antidote to the fundamentalist mind. It so threatens the planet today. Isarya is an utopian vision for the evolution of humanity, away from subject-object identification and towards identification with reality, the empty space of the atom. This is how we move from fear to love. You see, when we identify with objects which hold the allurement of our five senses, we fear their loss. This identification and entanglement with the possessions of our desires leads to the fear of loss. Rightfully so. For all this stuff is impermanent, and we are setting ourselves up for suffering when the bonds of attachment are inevitably severed. If we say, I am a millionaire, then I am identified with my bank account. If my bank account goes down, it causes suffering because our identity is wrapped up in this illusion. If your bank account goes up, then it causes you happiness, but either way, you're at the mercy of Leela's play of the opposites. Either way, you are ensnared, trapped in the illusory role of identification with the false self. To attain liberation from the play of these opposites, you must note the movement of the play of the bank account, either going up or down. Adjust your investment strategy accordingly, but remember your true nature, which is emptiness of inherent condition. You are not your bank account, but the field from which the bank account arose. This field contains all possibilities from the past and the future and other dimensions. For example, this field contains the history of banking, the history of monetary policy, and the history of economic thought and development. You are the field of all these possibilities, not your bank account itself. Now, try getting a loan with that metaphysical statement in your loan portfolio request. We also identify with our roles in our relationships. We say, I am a husband, and then the wife divorces us, and we are torn apart because our identity is wrapped up in the false self. Or we say, I am an executive, and we get laid off and are devastated because we lost our sense of self. We have to keep these simple, concrete, practical, and real examples in mind because they point to the nature of the problem, identifying with the wrong things. Remember, the root of suffering is mistaking the unreal for the real. So we need to continue to cleanse the lens of perception through our yoga practice. This is known as walking the razor's edge in Zen. With a sharp lens of consciousness, we can observe when we are becoming too entangled with our identifications with the three-dimensional world and forgetting about our four-dimensional perspective and even the 7 dimensions beyond. And so we're asked to expand our consciousness from dimension to dimension to dimension. In short, to make the unknown known. And so that's what I'm asking for you to make known tonight, is the nature of your true self, which is emptiness of inherent conditions, and fullness of reality, which paradoxically is emptiness. When your psyche identifies with emptiness, your psyche paradoxically becomes full. This is the reversal effect of consciousness. When we identify with the empty space of the atom, which is 99.99% emptiness, we become full with reality, for reality is composed of emptiness. What this means is that the pull of our 5 senses and the manipulation of the 5 senses from the media agenda powers that work to keep us ensnared, being good consumers and buying into buying as a meaningful existence. This is twisted, turning selfish narcissism into the virtue of consumption for consumption's sake. When conspicuous consumption becomes an altruistic creed, the seeds of America's destruction have ripened. American materialism is mistaking the unreal for the real, the root cause of dissatisfaction and suffering. It's like in the movie, What the Bleep, when the native cannot see the ship because he has no neural map to see the ship. In our case, we have no neural map to perceive the empty space of the atom, or reality as it actually is. To see the empty space of the atom requires a reversal of our ordinary consciousness, from seeking external rewards to the inner rewards of our pure existence as emptiness. Normally, we would see the ship and identify with the ship, but what I'm asking you to do is to note the ship is there, but not to identify with it. We might say to ourselves, oh, yes, there's a ship, but I know its true nature is emptiness, because every atom comprising the ship's structure is composed of 99.99% emptiness. In this way, we can be in the world but not of it. We can note things as they are in this 3-dimensional world of our senses, but not get caught up in the pull of the senses to identify with objects and material stuff. We need to remember that the stuff is actually composed of emptiness. And our identification with emptiness is a gateway or portal into the higher vibrational frequencies of consciousness and dimensions of existence. So rather than go on into a diatribe of theoretical physics, I'm going to demonstrate to you the land of Isaria. That is, what an embodied Isarian does, and how this is an expression of Isa. The land of Isaria is my utopian vision that marks the embodiment of Americans shifting their consciousness from matter to spirit, or from fear to love, or from the 3rd dimension to the 4th dimension. Different ways of expressing this necessary shift in consciousness. Personal shift that I've created from the practice of my yoga over the last 10 years has enabled me to identify with the empty space of the atom as the one universal constant, replacing superstition with scientific fact. The father of quantum mechanics, Max Planck, referred to the inherent emptiness of the atomic structure as, quote, intelligent matrix guiding the unfoldment of life's evolutionary processes. To my way of perceiving this intelligent matrix, which is the 99.99% empty space of the atom, it is filled with prana, life force. And prana, in turn, is composed of mahat, cosmic intelligence, and kama, love. These 2 powers combine to create wisdom, prajna. This conjunction of intelligence and love, called wisdom, is found in the empty space of the atom. I think the evidence for this hypothesis is readily available.